Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Cool Down. And today I'm pretty excited because we've got someone. He's part of the squad. He's been missing for a while, spreading something down in the South Coast down there. I'm not going to say what it is. No, I'm joking. He doesn't have anything as far as I'm aware of. But it is his debut today. It is his debut on the Cool Down. So welcome, Rich. Thank you for being a West Ham representative here today.
Oh, bro, thanks for having me. It's been way too long. I'm buzzing to be back involved. So, yeah, can't wait to enjoy this episode.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back. You bring something different. I don't know if it's because you throw swinging or you swing hammers at other guys while they're here. They're not here today, so we'll still let you swing a hammer at Denga, Mr. Denga up there, the Dengasaurus who makes it every week. By the way, guys, we have a little caps percentage record that we keep track of. And Wonga, despite his team's poor showing, Wonga's got the best attendance record for Goalloungetv. So congratulations for that, Wonga. If only Arteta had you leading the team there in Arsenal, am I right?
Yeah, if only he did. Goodness me. At least I'll be on the field. Other guys getting red cards for no reason.
Jeepers, man. And nearly more than one red card. But talking about results and how teams did, let's kick off with a team that did have a good weekend. Out of all the guys that we have representing our show, the surprise of the weekend was a West Ham win and a Newcastle win. So, Rich, 2-1 to West Ham. Let us know what happened there.
Honestly, fantastic performance. Absolutely buzzing as a West Ham fan right now. Long may it continue. But for us to go to Leeds, who needed a result, Bielsa was so confident that he literally told Moyes his starting lineup in advance before the game started, like 2 days before. So he felt that they had enough in the tank to win. And, they at home, they play such a high press and the intensity is insane. So for us to go behind and come back and win, and for me, you can ask other people that watch the game, we definitely deserve to win. We were the better side on the night by far. Honestly, Seb Haller had about 3 or 4 decent chances that any good striker in form would put away. So I'm so proud of the performance. And, to be 6th after 12 games, we within touching distance of top of the Premier League, like someone needs to pinch me now. I just couldn't be more proud of my team. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, 5, what is that? That's 4 wins out of 5 games. The only other team who's in better form is Man United, surprisingly enough, who have, 4 wins and 1 draw. So something's happening there. I think David Moyes with this West Ham United remind me of when he was in charge of Everton. They're really playing to their strengths. A player like Cresswell, who was a great player for you guys in the past, who somewhat had off seasons the last couple of seasons. Now he seems to be a key player just from set pieces because that's how David Moyes sets up. How do you feel about the way in which you guys are playing, apart from the results? I know the results are always great, but do you feel like David Moyes is slowly coming to terms with being a West Ham manager? Are you enjoying this?
Oh, absolutely. You know what? I spoke to Don Hutchison yesterday on PLTV, and he was just saying that there's a real calmness around West Ham at the moment. Normally, we are either going down or we're pushing for top 6, and everyone's going ballistic, and there's unrest between the fan base and the manager and the players. Right now at West Ham, there's a calmness that we've never seen before. We're just going on about our business week in, week out. Every single player knows exactly what their job is come Saturday. Moyes has found his best 11. Obviously, Antonio would go straight back into the side, and we're struggling with Seb up top because he's horribly out of form, shockingly out of form. And it does let us down, but we're finding ways to iron out results every single week. And as you mentioned earlier, he's managed to bring out the best in players that were horribly out of form a season or 2 ago. For example, Cresswell. Last season, he wasn't great. The season before, he struggled. This season, he's right at the top for assists from left centre-back. Masuaku, unfortunately, was injured for the Leeds game. He's someone that we missed. He's also been exceptional this season. And we were shrewd in the transfer market, bringing in Kufal at right back from the Czech Republic, because him and Souček have this insane brotherhood. And it's really showing. It's like ironing out on the team. The dressing room seems to be a great place to be at the moment. There's no one there with big heads trying to unsettle the club. So, yeah, I'm delighted. And we've found ways to take on sides that on paper, have such an insane press, are supposedly going to roll us over, and we're just going there, and especially away from home, we're showing that this season we can compete with absolutely anyone in the league, which is honestly fantastic as a West Ham fan.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at I heard the commentator was saying, I think it was even after the first corner, he was saying that Leeds actually struggled off their corners, and I thought that, I mean, West Ham, you could see every set piece, not the corners, actually set pieces, every set piece they got, they looked very dangerous, and it's pretty much big up to Moyes, probably especially for that game. You've got the advantage, you've got big guys up front, big guys in defense, and he always made sure that, look, it's the set pieces. We have to try and bury them, and I think they looked literally every set piece they took, it looked like they were going to score. And I mean, geez, watching West Ham, well, I know we'll get to Arsenal later, but it just, they look like they wanted to win. They, down to the last minute, they just wanted those 3 points in that game, and they got it. Something. Yeah, I miss it.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but this just blows my mind. This is just the confidence that's running through our side at the moment. It was the 89th minute, and we're 2-1 up away from home. You'd expect us to potentially be parking the bus now, get the 3 points. We had Angelo Ogbonna, our centre-back, crossing from the right-hand side for our other centre-back, who headed it and hit the post. That's in the 89th minute. Like, in what world does that happen? It's just it was just fantastic to see. Honestly, I'm over the moon at the moment.
Yeah, and to what Wonga was saying with regards to the set pieces, I think you guys do have the best conversion rate from set pieces, or most chances created. A ridiculous stat, something along those lines. And you can see, I mean, Sam Allardyce would be pretty much smiling, saying this is, he'd be very proud, because it's like a playbook a page from his playbook, where just be nice and tight to the back. Whip in set pieces. And I think West Ham are they're at a point now where, despite wanting to play attractive football, I always say it's all about results first. And we can compare the two between Arsenal and West Ham. Arsenal aren't getting the results right now, so it doesn't really matter what they do. They're just desperate for the points. And with the West Ham, as long as they're putting points on the board, these other things will start coming. The confidence will come from the guys that will then back to the manager, whether it be the fans and the board. And what's quite interesting, I mean, your last couple of managers haven't been backed by the fans haven't backed your manager, so to speak. So it's kind of slowly with these results, you guys can, and I mean, I'm sure you weren't 100% convinced with David Moyes. I know I wasn't when I saw him at West Ham. I was like, how long is he going to last there? Maybe another season or two. So
absolutely. The thing is, I was in the UK for Pellegrini's last game in charge. I watched him get sacked, and then I watched Moyes' first game in charge, and the general feeling around the fan base was this was the most underwhelming appointment we could have got. Everyone was going, our owners are rubbish. How can you bring back Moyes? If you considered him a failure in his first spell, how can you bring him back? But I'll give him so much credit. And the problem is that we've had in the past is West Ham have kind of had one plan. And if it didn't work on that Saturday, we didn't know how to change it up. This season, we've been able to play champagne football at times. And then at the same time, we can go to a side like Leeds and prey on their weaknesses and their vulnerabilities and make sure we hammer them when it comes to set pieces. So we've got different sides to our game in our locker that we've really improved on. So I'll give all the credit in the world to Moyes. I wasn't a fan when he came in, but he's really winning over the fan base at the moment. Absolutely. Everyone's working tremendously hard.
Yeah, he definitely has something. He has something to prove. I think, coming in there, like we all had written him off. We've all just said that, but it's the point where, if he fails at West Ham, where does he go from here? From a career perspective, he's done the stint, he's done the spell, but it's also different. When he was at United, he looked like a deer lost in headlights. And now at West Ham, he's slowly seeing this man with conviction. And that's a David Moyes, everyone can get on board with. And you're like, holy shit, well, the logs, that's not lying either. So it's
he's confident.
Yeah.
He's confident. If you look at his interviews post-match, normally he's in his shell. Now he feels like he belongs at West Ham and he's got an identity. And when you hear him speak, he's super, super confident. So it's great to see. Fantastic to see. Because he's had spells, as you mentioned, at like Sociedad, Sunderland, where he was genuinely a tremendous failure. So he's got a huge point to prove, and he's doing that right now.
Yeah. Fabianski, that penalty, was that not a red card? I thought it was a red card as soon as I saw it.
The thing is, I think they've changed that rule to an extent, because in the past that'd be a red, but I think now because they don't want to do a double punishment. I think it's called like a double punishment rule, where if he's thrown goal and you've made an attempt to get the ball, you just get a yellow because there's still the penalty to come after it. But if there's no attempt to play the ball, then it would have been a straight red. as far as I know.
Yeah, I think a straight red would have been quite harsh because, you know, he comes out there, he gets the timing wrong, but it's not a malicious thing taking the play. And the strikers also, I mean, Bamford's clever in what he's doing there. He knows exactly what he's doing. So to send the keeper off or something like that, I don't know. Like you said, double punishment, I don't think it would have been deserved. I don't know. Why did you think it was deserved, Longa?
Because he was the last man. As far as I understand, the rule is that you last man on goal and there's the keeper. But I can understand, yes, it wasn't like he literally just said, "Nah, I'm tripping you." He literally tried to go for the ball. Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, okay. Now that makes 100% sense. Yeah.
But what did you think about the first attempted penalty? I mean, I feel like he should have.
That was shocking.
Yeah, how the hell does he get the ability to retake that? I don't get that. Like that. You know how I feel about this whole rule with regards to, you know, the keepers and stuff? Like them don't know he's off the line. You know how I feel about it. I'm like, if the attacker can get any sort of advantage, they do. But the keeper, they always punish the keeper, even if he's like a couple of centimeters. I don't know how much of an advantage that really gives a goalkeeper.
If you think about it, Claudius, I was also thinking about it now today as well. I know it's not a solid thing, but if it's a penalty, the defending team is the one that was in the wrong. So, I mean, if the keeper's the one that has to be restricted to his line, I think for me, it's fair. I mean, the striker can still miss, but it's a penalty in the sense. I mean, you've fouled the guy in the box, and now they're putting it on. I mean, like with that one, he could have scored if the keeper doesn't touch him. Or if he jumps over him, he could have scored. That's my opinion. I know it's not solid, but I think for me, that's sense.
I think it's harsh, but I understand the rule, and it is black and white, so fair enough. But for me, you've seen, I don't know if you guys have actually seen Petr Cech come out recently, and he has an idea for goalkeepers in saying that they can come, I think it's a foot off their line. Because, I mean, for me, what advantage is Fabianski getting by being literally that much off his line?
Exactly.
You know, so for me, that was crazy. I was really, really disappointed because at the time I went ballistic when he saved it. And then when I saw how tight it was, I'm just going. And furthermore, I don't know if you guys saw, but there must have been about 3 or 4 players in the box when the shot was taken. So I'm not sure what happened to that rule. I thought that you weren't allowed to encroach. But
no, because now he scored. Yeah, because he scored.
Oh, yeah, you're not allowed.
You see?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. It's definitely not allowed.
My thing with the thing is when a goalkeeper's coming off his line, that's a natural movement in a sense, like he's coming, whether it's diving forward or whatever, he's doing what he can to stop the ball, right? If you it's like, no, they've got to be restricted to the line. That movement just sideways, it's not a natural thing to jump because generally when they're coming out to collect, they've always got to come and make the goal smaller. That's how they coach. That's how they trained. And now all of a sudden you guys are going, no, you can only jump side to side. So for me, it's like, it's not very natural. So the striker's allowed to do all sorts of things. Pause, wait, stop, look left, look right, and then kick. But the keeper has to be flipping on the line. Like that for me just does. I just don't think those two things add up.
The worst part of all was that obviously he got given a yellow card for the foul, and the ref said to him, if he comes off his line, even by a millimeter for the second pen, he's going to send him off. So I don't know if you guys saw that Fabianski for the second pen was basically static. He didn't even move. Basically, he was so scared to come off his line that he kind of just stood and then he fell over. So it kind of ruined it. He had no chance of saving the second.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, why did he stand still? I actually wondered, why did he stand still? Oh, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
He literally stood like a statue. And he was like,
that's
what
crazy.
Are you
doing? No, see, that's I'm not for that. But
yeah, that's crazy.
So in terms of the comeback though, so who had a lot of the possession? Like, how did the game play out, Rich? Because I didn't watch the game. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Leeds were poor actually. They didn't have many chances. They had Rodrigo had a good header chance right at the end that he headed straight at Fabianski. That if it goes a meter left or right, that's an equalizer. But otherwise, Declan Rice and Soucek dominated the midfield. They were absolute batching rams, and we exploited them down their wings. We're getting balls into Haller, who honestly should have scored 2 or 3, but he's just really struggling for form. So we won the midfield battle, which was key because we know how intensely Leeds like to press. And many, many times we were just patient and we managed to get through their press. And Leeds are that side that they are shockingly open. They're good going forward, but my goodness, there were times when we would counter-attack and there would be 2 or 3 Leeds defenders left and suddenly we 5-on-3. It was one of those games where it was just end-to-end. And Leeds, they left themselves really, really exploited at the back. So going forward, they did okay. But my goodness me, they left themselves really, really open at the back. And we should have really scored more. But I'm happy with the 2-1 win. We really deserved the 3 points.
Yeah, let the good times keep rolling, man. Momentum's building for you guys. The confidence is high. And the next game is, who's it? Crystal Palace, I think it is.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, Crystal Palace. So that's going to be an interesting game. If you come away there, I mean, who's to say that you guys can't be in it for the league title? But next game, let's talk about two teams that should be in it for the title. And as things stand, they could still be in it. Well, I mean, Man City and Man United, they both have games in hand. So, and like I said, Man United in good form. So technically, they should still be in it. But what do we think about this game, guys? 0-0 at Old Trafford. Overall, what are your views, Wonga?
I think, look, I listened to Gary Neville after the game as well. And I think he put it quite nicely. He says that Man City, if you look at Man City, they're literally a shadow of the team that they were when they won the title 2 years ago. And he's saying that Pep Guardiola is actually, after the match, Pep Guardiola is probably saying to everyone that, yeah, they deserve the win. They are actually happy with he's happy with his team's performance. But deep down inside, he actually knows that they should have actually won that game. Man United are probably the team that got the happier team. They're happy with the draw. And I mean, he was saying that, I mean, as a Man United fan, and I think that for me summed it up pretty much. If you watch Man City, there were chances they did, but when from my point of view, yeah, they are chances where they should have played the game. But the keepers, I thought what's his name? De Gea, he came up to the task. I mean, there were times that you took, I mean, where De Gea and Maguire, to be honest with you, like there was a time when Sterling came in, cutting from the left, dribbled the players. I mean, only Sterling would have been able to do such a thing. Took a shot and Maguire got in the way. I mean, all the defenders, I mean, some defenders are even on the line. So I think it's probably something that they actually planned for. Then even there was a time when Mahrez, they're switching the ball, they counter-attack, they switch the ball from left to right. Mahrez was by himself, just entering the box on the right-hand side. And he's literally one-on-one now. He just has to put it in the back of the net. And De Gea he didn't rush out. He came out calm, made sure he watched Mahrez, tried to make himself big. Mahrez took the shot, De Gea gets down, put his knee down, deflects off him, and the opportunity is lost. So...
Yeah, I think, you know what, this was a game where both managers came there. They didn't want to lose the game. That's all it was. 1 point was more important than losing 2.
Rich, I think
or losing 3. Well, yeah, what's going on there, Wonga? Yeah, sorry, go for it, Richard. Yeah.
No stress. Look, I think I didn't personally watch the entire game.
You guys hear me?
But yeah,
yeah.
But listening to what a lot of people said, they kind of said that was 90 minutes of their life that they're never going to get back. It was just a really disappointing game all around. And for me, watching the end and watching the highlights, there was not that bite and that spice and that drama that you'd expect from a Manchester derby. It kind of just shows how the mighty have fallen, you know. And after the game, you have Man United and Man City players hugging each other, basically kissing each other. In what universe did that used to happen? This is a derby. This is where you're supposed to hate each other for 90 minutes and fly into tackles. It didn't have that bite. It was a really disappointing game of football. But as you said, Klaus, both managers didn't want to lose the game because in a big game, in a derby, it can really affect your form for the next 3 or 4 games if you lose badly, etc. So both of them won't be happy with their performances, but taking a point is not the worst thing in the world. But it was, for me, watching the highlights, like I looked at it and I went, this isn't a derby. This is the most tame Manchester derby I think I've ever seen. So yeah, that was strange for sure.
Yeah, and that's what Gary Neville was saying. He's saying like he felt that if looking at Pep, he said that look, he's one guy that should have come out there and try to win the game, and he would have, but yeah, he didn't. Can you hear me, Claude?
No, dude, I don't know what's going on with you. He's still there. Rich, you still there?
I can.
This is crazy, dude.
I can hear you. I can hear you, Claudio. I can see that you can't hear me. But
I feel like the second wave of COVID has hit South Africa and it's hitting our live stream for somehow it's affecting us. I don't know what's going on here. We're having some serious technical difficulties. But talking about the game in particular, like you said, Rich, It's a huge derby, but also shows you the difference in terms of the games where fans were allowed back into the stadium versus that just lacked any like if they had some fans, maybe there would have been some fight, maybe there would have been some nasty not nasty, but like some determined tackles rather. It was completely lackluster. It was like, okay, cool guys, we didn't go out there. We're going to play for 90 minutes. We're going to take our points, and then we're going to piss off. Because if one of us loses this, it's going to be big headlines the next day. Ollie's job will be on the line again. It's one of those things. Despite the fact that, they're the best team in the league at the moment with regards to the last 5 games and from a form perspective. And then you got Pep Guardiola, like you mentioned already. This isn't the same Man City. But the irony to all of this is that it isn't the same Man City. But if they've got a game in hand, Man United have a game in hand, and if they win those games in hand, they're only 2 or 3 points off the top, which shows you how open this league is at the moment. And I was asking you guys just before we started.
We got Cloud.
So now we know what the problem is at least.
Hey, I think what Clouds was saying though, obviously, and I've thought about this now, there wasn't a sense of spice and drama in that game. And in a derby, I think fans are almost 50% of what brings that spice. If you've got fans booing and jeering and Oaks flying into tackles 2-footed, that has a big role to play in how the players perform. I can't imagine playing a massive derby game, for example, like a North London derby, and then having no fans. How are players supposed to get motivated?
No, I agree with you. I think that's one thing I think I noted as well when looking at that Man United game. The one that actually didn't have fans was the one that was it was all right. I mean, although I feel that Man United did defend a bit better than they have in previous games, but I think there was just something lacking there. There was no reason for them to really win the game. And we can always argue it, but we never know for sure. But if the fans were there, we probably would have gotten a bit more of a better performance from the teams. Actually, more of a desire from one of the teams, should I say, from maybe Man United, since it was them that was playing at home, right? Yeah. So I think we would have definitely got something from there. For sure. But in the end, I think they literally cancel each other out. Boring game. Not one I can do.
One of those games we're actually happy to see the back off. That's for sure. For sure. But should we move on to the Everton Chelsea game? Everton beating the Blues by 1-0. What were your thoughts? Obviously, you've got Chelsea in tremendous form, and then coming to a grinding halt at Goodison. What are your thoughts on that result, Wonga?
Yes, last week, Rich, I can even remember myself. I did not see this happening. I mean, I think I remember saying that, look, if you got the Everton of from the beginning of the season, I mean, you just don't know which Everton was going to pitch up, but the possibility was there because maybe they just could pitch up on the day. But then again, I also felt that Chelsea were a bit unlucky. I think Mendy as well made a huge blunder. I think maybe Kepa put something in his drink before the game. That was a massive blunder. Took out the player, obvious penalty, and I think Sigurdsson did well to put it away. But Chelsea afterwards you got the response that you expected from them. They were all over Everton. But they just couldn't score. I think they hit the post twice. But the post is as close as it is to the opening of the net. I mean, it's still not a goal. And
I don't think Lampard will be too disappointed because, as you say, they responded really well. And on another day, they could have easily got back into that game. So I don't think Lampard will be too disappointed. But in terms of Ancelotti and Everton, as an Everton fan, I wouldn't know what kind of team I'm going to get every single week. It must be so frustrating for them because, as you say, they started so well at the beginning of the season and then kind of went through a stage where I think they lost back-to-back games and suddenly they're losing to Minnows teams that you'd expect them to beat. And then now they've just gone and beaten Chelsea, who are side in really good form. So I think Ancelotti's struggling a bit to find that winning formula. I still don't think he knows what his best side is. But we are delighted to be joined by our main man again. Klaus, can you hear us?
Yeah, no, I'm back in the game. You know, I got
Fantastic.
pulled out. It looked like it was almost like we're playing indoor. You know, I got an injury, got pulled out, and I'm back in. Yeah, I don't know what I missed from regards to the Chelsea and Everton thing, but the keepers were at it in this game again. It's like whenever a game is played at Goodison Park, there's something's going to happen both ends of the goal from a goalkeeper perspective. The first penalty that's given away from a Mendy perspective. What the hell is he doing so far out of his box?
No clue.
But I don't know what killed me the most is when he ran into the player, like he literally aimed for him. Like I can't get the ball, I'm bumping him. And I've criticized this a lot. Some keepers, but I mean I think with VAR now, and I think the way the rules have changed, they're not going to get away with it. But I think in the past keepers had a lot of privilege in the box. But yeah, Mendy's one was. I don't know if it's a thing, but it was a huge blunder. I was telling Rich now. I think Kepa spiked his drink before the game because
he just came up. I mean, talking about spiking drinks, we know the other goalkeeper Pickford is permanently spiked because what the hell is that guy doing as well? He's coming out for things when he shouldn't be coming out. He does pull off one or two saves in the game, which I mean they're decent, but then he does crazy things like when he sets up the wall. They mentioned it after the game that they're pretty sure that the Chelsea team had analyzed how he had set up his free kicks because he tends to gamble. He sets up his wall, he's on the left-hand side, and then before they've even taken the free kick, he's moved 2 or 3 meters to the right-hand side, guessing they're going to hit it there. So they just kept going to the left-hand side. And then the way in which he speaks to his players, I'm just like, this Oak is mental. This Oak is the most mental. Yep.
It boggles my mind how he can be England #1. Honestly, I cannot understand what is going through Southgate's head to make him England #1. He must be the 5th or 6th choice for me in terms of the English goalkeepers. And I watch him week in, week out, and he is the most prone to error, irrational thinking goalkeeper I can possibly think of in the division right now. So it just boggles my mind. Ancelotti must be pulling his hair out. I don't know how he kept a clean sheet. I honestly don't know.
I know, but for an Italian,
like you say, like I mean, for me, like I said, the last was the last World Cup. It was the last World Cup. Pickford, he played really well, and I also didn't think. I mean, he would have been chosen #1, but he played, in my opinion, he played very well in that World Cup, in many matches. But then again, it needs to be that squad needs to be, I mean, chosen. I mean, according to the best player in form. So I understand what you're saying, Rich. I just can't understand, especially now, how he's still making that squad.
But Bonga, it's one of those things where, like, you know, World Cup tournament football, you just need to be on form. That's all it is, right? Yeah. But he's always got that in him. He can pull off an amazing save like he did on the weekend, but then he's going to make 3 or 4 ridiculous things that he's just not there. It's like he overcompensates for something. I don't know what the hell the Oak's doing. And I can tell you now, for an Ancelotti, who's an Italian manager, where the Italian philosophy is a defensive setup, he's going to be replaced as soon as he gets the funds. And if someone's available, he'll be replacing that guy very quickly because he's not reliable. True. And if they do bring in a good goalkeeper, then they can really do something. Because the way in which he sets up Ancelotti, like I said, the most trouble Liverpool have had in the last 2-3 seasons is when Klopp has faced the Napoli side that was managed by an Ancelotti. And we saw on the weekend, we saw how he set up against Chelsea. At times, they're defending with 6 players. And that's why they got the results. He's got the workhorses there in the Decore and the Allen. We know that. He's getting the work, the graph from Richarlison and Iwobi, who played on the weekend, funny enough. And they can do the damage. If Everton go 1-0 up in a big game, it's going to be very tough for guys to try and break them down. But with a Pickford in goal, there's always a chance. Because you just got to, if you're a West Ham, jeepers, David Moyes must be licking his lips to go back to Goodison Park. Just get Cresswell, whip that thing back in there, and something's going to happen. It's going to be a live.
I would hate to be a defender for Everton. Honestly, you know you've got an awful keeper behind you. And furthermore, you've got a keeper that is so arrogant and just shouts and screams at you the entire game. I would pull my hair out as an Everton centre back.
No, I'll tell him to piss off. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen him, and I'm telling him to piss off in this, like, from my lounge. I'm looking at him. I'm like, dude, could you imagine me in the play on that field, like you said, Rich? Jeepers, dude.
He's so unlikable. He's the most unlikable character, honestly.
But you know what I find interesting is that, okay, so Chelsea, they end up losing. They had some chances, but what I liked about it, the whole build up to that game was Carragher coming out saying, they've got the best squad in the league. They've got the best squad in the league. The first thing Lampard comes and says is like, we don't have the best squad in the league. And he's taken this now and he's trying to downplay his chances because the more people say that he's got the best squad, the more pressure he's going to be under. So, so I like how that was the first thing he said after the game. He didn't mention anything else. He just says, look, I don't know why guys are being unrealistic. I don't have the best squad. He'd be like, well, you do. You just need to make him a team. You need to make him a team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. On paper, who's got a better squad apart from a Liverpool right now? Who's got a better squad, man for man?
Yeah, Chelsea, 100%
Has
Chelsea.
to be Chelsea, full on.
I'm sure they could name 16 players. No, 18. Sure, 18 that are strong to play. Yeah, no, 100% got the best team.
And Lampard's clever just downplaying it because in a season like this where honestly it wouldn't surprise me if a team that's finished 4th or 5th last season sneaks up and really enters a title race. Lampard's clever, you got to play it game by game. As you said, Klaus, as soon as you start getting ahead of yourself and taking on that responsibility of suddenly, we've got the best squad, that pressure mounts and that's when you really crumble. So I think he's done well there.
I think it's something he's also pulled from his mentor in Mourinho, because Mourinho's also come out saying, he's like, I don't know why everyone says Liverpool have all these injuries because he's facing them tomorrow. And he says, no, they don't have injuries. They don't have injuries. But we'll talk about Liverpool. But that's definitely something he's learned from Mourinho. That's, yeah.
But, I saw that one also.
Yeah, but and I was asking you guys before, I don't know what happened to me. Like, I just got booted off. It's like StreamYard were like, fuck you, Claudio. We don't like the show you're doing. They're like, no, Wonga and Richard, they've got this. We don't like you. You're actually annoying everyone now. Anyway, going back to the actually winning this league this season, we know how unpredictable this is. At this stage, after 12 games, this is the lowest points tally any league leader has had. And we know it's all these crazy things that are happening in the world at the moment, and they're all adding. It's the bunch added up variables. They're playing a role. But how much does it take off the gloss to whoever wins this league if everything continues the way it is?
Huge. I think if you win the league this season, obviously it will be fantastic. But not having full stadiums, and honestly, I can see this whole season playing out, and there will not be one game where the stadium is completely full. And that's going to have a huge bearing on performances, on, the enjoyment. Once you've won the title, being able to celebrate with your fans. Obviously, we saw it with Liverpool. It was a bit of a sour end for them, even though they managed to win the league, which was fantastic for the entire club. It takes a huge amount of gloss off the title. And yeah, I'm glad that West Ham aren't in a title race this season, because if we were to win it this campaign, it would be the most bittersweet thing in the entire world to see us win.
See Wonga, Richard's playing mind games. He's playing mind games like Lampard, ruling West Ham out of the title race. Meanwhile, we know they're in there. They're 5 points behind. Anything can happen here. And these games are coming thick and fast. They're coming so fast, man. Hey, so but like talking about the fans making a huge difference. Wonga, you got the joint league leaders in a Spurs and a Liverpool. Obviously, they're traveling to London. Crystal Palace, tight little stadium. They have their fans. Fulham, tight little stadium. They have their fans. And all of a sudden, both teams show up and make it really, really difficult for both these teams. So, like Crystal Palace, Spurs, let's unpack that. Let's look at it. What did you guys think about this game?
I thought when I looked at the first goal, look, Crystal Palace, like I said, they're very unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get. But if you get a good squad, they can literally hold the team to a 0-0 draw if they have to. They can if they want to. I've never really been a fan of Benteke starting, so I wasn't really expecting much when I saw him on the team sheet. But when I saw let's say Harry Kane's goal, goodness me, I didn't see the angle from behind Harry Kane, but did the ball swerve that much for Gates? I don't know if you saw the game, Claudio, but Harry Kane shoots and it goes. It looks to me like it went dead straight, but the keeper dives to the left, then sorts himself out. So his legs literally go from left to right, and then he's diving. You get what I'm saying? He's diving, facing that way, but body moving the opposite direction. Ball goes in the back of the net. Maybe good strike from Harry Kane, but I couldn't understand it. That was a flop. But then again, he pulled off a lot of good saves. If he's not in the net that game, maybe it's the fans that also helped him. I don't know, but if he's not in the net that game, Crystal Palace lose that game definitely 4. He pulled up. He pulled up his
that save right at the end from the Dyer free kick. I mean, I think I know it's a world class save, but I feel like Dyer, typical center half, he goes for accuracy instead of just whipping it in. You know, like someone who's taking free kicks week in, week out, like your Ward-Prowse, like your Trent, they whip it in because they know where they're putting that ball. So the pace generally beats the goalkeeper. In that scenario, Dyer is just trying to hit the target, and he gives it, because he's doing that, it's lacking that little bit of pace just to get away from the keeper. The keeper, fantastic. Don't take anything away because it's a fantastic save. But it wasn't the best free kick. I know, like, it was a very good free kick, but it wasn't a world-class free kick.
I completely understand where you're coming from.
But looking at Dyer, when he, I think what he's thinking in his head is he's been on the free kicks all the time, but has he ever hit the target? Well, for me, I've seen him take, the free kicks I've seen him take, quite a few, have all gone over, not left, right, over, way over. So now he's thinking in his head, maybe his time is limited. Let's just get this on target. He puts it on target, and keeper saves it. That's what I'm thinking when he takes that.
I feel like the show is taking like a lot of a keeper conversation, because Crystal Palace's goal as well. Hugo Lloris, guys, what do we think about that? Yeah. Should he be holding on to that?
For me, I think it's a difficult one. In my opinion, I looked at it and I think, the ball. I think the cross came in. It was perfect. It worked out nicely for Crystal Palace, because now the players are in front of you. You can't go out there. He's not going to win it if he gets out. But now everyone's missed it. So now he's also anticipating a touch that doesn't come. Now the ball's bounced in front of him. I mean, he's played well the whole season, done very, very well. And I don't think that one was as easy as it looked. And that bobbles in front of him. And it comes at him quick. There's a lot of things happening there. A lot of players that ball could have hit. And I think that's what puts him off, in my opinion.
I've never been a fan of Hugo Lloris. For me, I think he's one of the most overrated keepers in the world.
You know what? I'm in the same camp. I'm not going to lie. I'm in the same camp.
Honestly, he is not commanding. You need to be commanding as a goalkeeper. His distribution is not good enough. There are so many times where he gets the ball at the back and he just hopelessly hits it and it doesn't go to anyone. And there again, it just showed the insecurities that he has. Obviously, it's a good ball. It's a good ball in from Eberechi Eze, who for me is actually a really, really good signing for Palace. Really exciting youngster, but he has to be doing more there. You either got to come out, try to get to the ball before it bounces, punch it, or just do something. But he was caught in like three different minds there. He honestly didn't know if he was coming or going. And for me, that's Hugo Lloris in a nutshell. I don't know what your thoughts are, Clouds, on him.
Dude, I'm in complete agreement with you. It's exactly that. And, like when Matt was on the show the other day and he was saying, it's like definitely has to be one of the best keepers in the history of the Premier League. And I'm like, I just can't understand how this guy's still the number one for France. Is there no one better than Hugo Lloris? Like, he's good. But like you said, in those sort of moments when conviction is needed, he has moments where he's like David Moyes in the Old Trafford dugout. The eyes are popping. He feels like he's uncomfortable. It's exactly that. When you go to a Crystal Palace, Hugo Lloris is always going to be under pressure because he's in the unfamiliar space. When people are on top of him, he doesn't like it. And I think in that scenario, sure, I know what you're saying, Wonga. His line of sight was off guard. He thinks someone's going to get a touch, but it doesn't, and comes directly to him. But still, the way in which he deals with it, it hits him rather than him knowing it's going to hit him and parrying it away, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like there's a situation where if Rich is saying he's got conviction there, he then goes, I'm either catching this. Okay, cool. No, I'm not catching it because it's coming too quick. So I'm going to hit this thing away. And if I'm going to hit it away, I'm going to clear that thing wide. And, it just hits him. And he's kind of like, oh, shit, where did that thing come from? And then it's like, oh, goal. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. One thing I want to ask you guys before we move on is the whole Gareth Bale situation, the luxury signing. What I personally see from a Mourinho side is this guy's not going to get any game time because Mourinho is going there to win now. He's got the team buying into his workaholic sort of defensive mindset. And the Gareth Bale is not going to do that for you. So when does this guy play? When do you bring him on as a manager?
It's so difficult for Mourinho because obviously when he signed, all Spurs fans were going, our saviour's back. He's going to be our main man. He's going to play week in, week out. But as you said, Klaus, Mourinho is the type of manager to say, I've got a game plan. You stick to my game plan. You work hard. You do what I say. And if you don't, you're not going to touch the pitch. And I think that's kind of what's happening now. Obviously, when Bale arrived, he was struggling with injuries. So you can understand why Mourinho might have bided his time and slowly introduced him into the fray. But I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be a starter at any point this season unless there's an injury to Son or Kane or one of the players that are really in form, because he has a role to play, and he's, as you said, a luxury player who's not potentially going to give you exactly what you need when you're a Mourinho type manager. So it's an interesting one, because Spurs fans are calling for him to be their main man and their savior and to recapture that form that we saw when he was last at Spurs. But I can't see it happening personally. I'm not sure what you think, Wonga.
Yeah, I thought he would have started at least as someone you try and build back up. But I think, yeah, exactly what you guys are saying. That's probably exactly what's happening. That side. I think also that what we spoke about in the beginning, that euphoria of actually, him actually signing. I think that's the whole atmosphere around that. I think that was I think that helped Spurs a lot as well. It like gave them a hope. They looked at their squad.
Yeah,
everyone is
fair
thinking
enough.
all these players. What I think, maybe I don't know how Marino feels about it, but I think maybe in his head he's probably thinking, hey, that did enough, But again, yeah, he's not gonna risk. He's not gonna risk playing Bale for. Exactly what's happening now. He's not gonna risk it for that. I think even no normal player would do that. No manager would do that, actually.
And you that's a valid point, Wonga. If you're thinking about it, he comes in, and that's a signing that uplifts the whole club. Like Rich was saying, the savior is back. But they do always say you should never return back to your old club, because you don't recapture that same sort of form.
True.
But what's also interesting is perhaps if things didn't go according to the way they did, in terms of the results they're picking up, maybe then there is a bit more of a chance. But the issue now is that the team is so well drilled without him, and they are picking up the results. For a guy who isn't 100% reliable in fitness, because let's face it, how many games has he played in the last 2-3 years consecutively? I think it's going to be very difficult to break into that starting 11, especially when you got a Kane and Song that don't need anyone else up front. They don't. Yeah. They just need guys to be working behind them, and that's how they're winning games. So it's a very interesting dilemma, and it's going to be interesting to see how they take on Liverpool tomorrow evening. And talking about the Liverpool game that they played against Fulham, wow, guys. Did anyone watch this game apart from me?
Yes. Yeah, I watched it. When I saw Fulham 1-0 up, I had to turn on the TV. I thought it was going to be clean slate, and I said, hey, no, let's watch this one.
Fulham were good. Fulham, I think that was their best performance of the season, even though they didn't win it. We saw a fight in Fulham that we haven't seen all season, so I think they'll be tremendously proud. Exactly. You guys wiped the floor with Fulham. I think it was the opening day, but there was just this fight and tenacity that we've never seen before, and I think it will do a lot for their season in the long run, just for confidence to say, we can pick up points against Liverpool. We've got a chance this season. Yeah. What did you make of Liverpool's performance, though, Clouds? Were you?
It was definitely it was what I said. For example, I said, no, Liverpool going to win 4-0, and I kind of think the players went there with that attitude. And Fulham having their fans for the first time back in the stadium, that was a huge thing for them, because they were on it. They were on it from the minute the ball got kicked off. They were the better side no matter what happened. First half, they were on top. Second half, they still controlled the game. Liverpool struggled, man. Liverpool looked like they were casually strolling out and they were going to get the victory, and they didn't. And and then they got the goal, Fulham. And it was watching it, it is frustrating, because the quality of players that you have. We also then have a situation where Matip comes off at halftime. And you're thinking, oh, shit, just what you need, another centre-half injured before the Spurs game. So I don't know why Mourinho was coming out saying Liverpool don't have injuries. But, the fact of the matter is we had one fit centre-half on the field against Fulham. Obviously, we could get away with it because Henderson's a decent enough player. I was pretty happy with Curtis Jones. He was by far the best player, and very much impressed with Minamino. There's a lot of... I don't understand it. Yeah, but I don't understand. Like, from the Liverpool side, there's a lot of fans who don't like him. They're already saying his time is up. I'm like, the dude came in halfway through the season last season. They won the league. They were already fully going. And he's Japanese, and he doesn't speak English. He speaks German, which is fine with the manager. But to be integrated in the team takes a lot more time, especially if you're coming from a culture that's very, very different. So they're saying he's not a good player, not a good player. So for me, when he came in, a player like Minamino is very versatile. He can play in the front three. Sure, he's not going to have the same impact, but he can do it. And but he comes into the midfield, and a lot of the time we did look good on the weekend was because he won the ball and he broke up the play and he put something through, and Curtis Jones did something or someone else did something. And it was a lot. Those were the two best players in the park. I think Trent had a shocker. he was far off it, and you could see the injury coming into play there and the match fitness not being there. And he was very casual in his approach. And yeah, I just think it was a combination of a lot of players being really poor on the day, and it was Fulham just who showed up and really wanted it. It was kind of one of those things where every second ball was being competed by Fulham. And when that happens, you know it's going to be a tough afternoon, regardless of the fact that when you are Liverpool in recent years, at least, we always come back from a goal down. It was just one of those games where you watched and you were like, I can't see us scoring a goal here. And then we're looking at the penalty that we got. I mean, we technically stole 2 points from Fulham. On paper and on performance, I think Fulham deserved the 3 points, in my opinion. I don't know, Wonga, what did you think about that penalty? What did you make about the penalty?
Look, I mean, according to the rule, it's a handball. I mean, his hand was here, but again, he's facing the other way. If the ball misses his hand, where's the ball gonna go? That's also a thing I'm asking. But I mean, according to the rule, it's a penalty. He's turned his body, his hand is out here, and it's hit there by the elbow, and I think the ref called it right according to the rule.
What were your thoughts on the Fulham penalty shot, Clouds? Do you think they had a case for the Cavallero? Because for me, I think it was a pen. Personally,
I was losing my mind. I was losing my mind.
Was that not a penalty?
No, it was. I was watching it and I was like, what a tackle. I was like, what a tackle.
What?
Dude, and then I'm watching with the other guys are like, no, this is going to get checked for VAR. I was like, I thought they were joking. And then I went for VAR.
No, it's Claudio.
No, guys, come on. As soon as that starts getting reviewed, what the hell are you saying about football then? Then we're removing all these tackles that Maldini did for years. All the beautiful art of a good sliding tackle. And you know what? You're going to tell me he's touched the play. Bullshit. The guy was already off his feet. He was already off his feet. And that for a centre half who's playing centre back and to win that ball the way in which he did, I thought it was a brilliant tackle.
I don't think we touched the ball.
What do you mean? He didn't touch the ball. It was clear as day he touched the ball.
I don't think.
Oh my goodness!
No way. He touched the ball.
Ian Wright after the game was saying he couldn't believe it wasn't given. He was like perplexed.
But Ian Wright also played for Arsenal and supports Arsenal. So what the hell does he know? No offense.
And he's a striker. So fair
and
enough.
He's a striker. Yeah, exactly. No ways. And whenever I take this into perspective, I always see it from the defender's angle, largely because when I played, I was always the defender, and I know when like Calvert-Lewin's, for example, I know we're going back to the game, the Chelsea-Everton game, but the second penalty that he gets,
that was soft.
That was offside, but he cuts the ball across and he runs into Chilwell and he gets the penalty. Like for me, surely as a ref, and this is what pisses me off, is the ref goes, no, by letter of the law, there's contact. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It doesn't work like that. The striker is looking for it. In this scenario, it's a bit different. The player's generally going for the ball. He doesn't get kicked. Which angle are you guys looking at? Which one? Which one were you looking at?
All of them. The one I was watching them and I saw him so hyped.
Look,
he's so hyped.
I'm in disagreement, but regardless, I do think Liverpool were lucky to walk away with a point in that game. They were lucky.
What else I going to ask you? Claudia, I also don't understand, like Liverpool, okay? I understand Klopp's done well with the team, but this, in my opinion, the high line, there was that opportunity in the first I think it was 2 or 3 minutes. They just pass, and then what killed me the most is that they passed the ball straight past everyone. Then after Fulham take the shot on goal, everyone's there perplexed. There's like Matip was looking and saying, "What the hell happened?" Like it's 2 minutes in, everyone's fresh. You're playing a high line. You're going to get beaten by the quickest player, and everyone's perplexed, not understanding what the hell just happened there. And I think for me, I think that was especially with not defense not being up to fitness. I mean, I think I even noticed Matip limping a bit after that full sprint he had to hit.
But that's one of the things, though, Wonga. I think that's how the team came out. They were very complacent, and in that sort of scenario, the reason we play the high line, in particular on the weekend, was because the park is smaller. So you should be dealing with that, especially when you've got 3 centre mids in the middle of the park there. One of them should really be helping out. That run shouldn't be happening because even if the player gets past the man, he should be taken out. So they switched off. They completely switched off. And I agree with you. I think Nick always says it. He's like, why are Liverpool playing a high line? More so now that they don't have pace at the back. I think it's similar to how City played against United on the weekend as well. City sat a lot deeper because they knew they're not as organized. So they decided, okay, let's sit deeper because we're going to get caught on the counter with your Rashfords and your Martials, etc., etc. Liverpool, I think we're just banking on the fact that, one, the sentiments were going to help out on the weekend, and two, that the park is smaller than your usual size park. And they did get caught out. They did. And like I said, we were lucky to get that point. I've got nothing else to say about that, except for the other fact that now Jota, another injury to the list after 2 months, because they played him in the Champions League in a game that didn't matter. So it's like,
And even interesting thing about you remember the goal that Fulham scored? I think just before the pass,
that was a good hit.
Before the shot was taken, Salah gets pushed. Well, it looks like he gets pushed. That's what they say. And I was looking at it. When I looked at it from the VAR point of view, everything's played slow motion. You see the touch, you see Salah jump forward, and you're thinking, you even see him move forward a bit, and then he jumps forward, and then you're thinking maybe it's exaggerated it. But I don't know who it was I think it was who was it? I can't remember who mentioned it. But they said that if the ref, when he's watching it, he's probably seen it correctly, in the sense that he saw everything real time, and he's got the perfect point of view to see what's happening. And in the real time, what he sees is Salah exaggerating what happened. He says the contact wasn't enough. And I think, in that instance, maybe VAR kind of does skew it, because when you look at VAR, you're thinking contact, play moving forward. It's definitely from
VAR does though. VAR does 100%, because you're not there to forensically analyze. It's exactly how the ref interpreted it. That's how it needs to be done. And when I saw it, I knew exactly. I was like, that's not going to be given. That's not going to be given. Why? Because yes, he does exaggerate it. He's created that reputation for himself. So even if he was pushed, he still does what the reputation that he's upholding with. So he's never going to get the decision. And then the second thing is, he could have competed for that ball. The ball goes up. Even if he doesn't win it, he puts the defender, or he puts that player off. But no, he throws his hands up. And what he does is he allows him to actually fucking lift his head up and play the ball out wide to a player who's completely free. And again, our line was all over the place. We had a very bad day at the office. But it was one, and that hit, by the way, I would have been pissed off if that goal been ruled off for Salah throwing his hands in the air, because that was a sweet hit, and that goal was coming from a Fulham perspective. And like I said, very well deserved from the end. That's all I can say. I don't know. Salah must stop his shit. And Salah, for me, guys, big question for you guys. If Liverpool have to get rid of a Salah or Mane, and obviously Salah is tremendous, he's immense for Liverpool. Which player do you get rid of? And don't take into consideration people are going, oh, no. The worst was I was talking to someone on the weekend, they're like, Mane is not in form. I'm like, why? Because he hasn't scored goals. Now he's not in form. Yeah. I'm like, do you watch football?
I'd have Mane over Salah any day.
Exactly. Me too. 100%. 100%.
Exactly.
He can win you matches, that guy. Yeah, it's a conversation done there. He can win you matches that you're not supposed to win.
Sorry, moving on, because I actually forgot we still haven't spoken about the big game for the weekend. Monga, your manager came out saying if people are firing bullets, they must hit me in the chest and I must take them like a man. That's what he came out saying today.
Yes. After this loss, there's probably a good 15 minutes I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is the problem with Arsenal? Like, maybe this is the reason, that's the reason. I'll tell you one of the reasons I did think of. I was just wondering, what, the team performs like this week in, week out, but no one is suffering any consequences for what is happening. That's why you see, maybe, I know not every manager is doing it, but Frank Lampard's team, they've got depth in the team, and he literally plays people on form. Kepa, I think, only struggled for a couple of games. It was like he gave him the chances, 1, 2, 3, and then poof, that was it. Got a keeper, changed him, and now that's the keeper done. If I'm looking at Arsenal, I mean, Aubameyang and those guys are not firing. And Lacazette as well, I know he's been complaining about not starting. Okay, now he's starting. He's starting now. He literally been starting. And I think over the past 5 games, Lacazette's been starting. And you're not getting goals. I'm talking about the league here. And there you got the other young boys playing on the weekend. They're firing left, right, and center. They scored, I think, 20-something goals, if I'm not mistaken. Silla put it in that group. We saw the log for for Arsenal. And yeah, it's not weak opposition, you might say, but they're scoring. They're scoring goals. Try to give those guys maybe one or two just opportunity to start there, just to show that, look, guys, your position is not guaranteed next match. I don't know what's going on in the camp and how they change the systems there, but I think for me that could be a contribution to what we're getting out there. It's very lackadaisical. There's no consequences. Okay, I don't fire in this game. Okay, I got next game. Next game I'll fire. I don't do this game. Okay, next game I can do well. And it's also happening. I mean, before the game, I think before Tottenham game, they interviewed Lacazette. They like doing these interviews. They ask him what, not Lacazette, Aubameyang, and they asked him, what do you think? What are your spirits going into this game? And he says, no, I feel that this is the game we're going to. No, this is the game that we must win. If we win this game, it's a derby. Spirits are going to be lifted up. Probably give us confidence to the next match. Did you see? If I told you that now, I'm telling you that now, and then you see the performance that happened in the game. It's not the same thing. So there's definitely some disconnect.
It's mental. I don't know
what is happening.
Like Shaka and that the tweet that's going around with Patrice Evra saying, Thierry Henry said, come watch the game in my house. And then you see Shaka wearing the captain's armband. He's like, this isn't my captain. He switches the thing off. I mean, Shaka, the fact that man was captain, the fact that he took his armband off, swore at the fans, and somehow has managed to come back into the club and still play. I feel like that's a huge flashlight or warning sign as to what the hell's going on at the club, because the fact that has happened is ridiculous. Then you've got other players. Let's talk about you mentioned accountability. Exactly that, accountability. You mentioned straight after that, Elneny does the thing in the box, which technically, if he's getting carded for what he did there, why isn't that a penalty as well? Maybe you can explain that to me, because I just saw the highlights. I didn't watch the whole thing.
The way I also wondered why it wasn't a penalty. What was my thing? I don't know what the rules say, but if you think about it, the ball wasn't played. Do you get what I'm saying? The ball was static. It wasn't actually played, and then he goes and he pulls the player off. That incident happened when the ball was still.
So the game wasn't in play. But my thing is,
that's how I understand it. But I'll not lie to you. I will not say that that's the reason for sure, but that's the way I'm understanding it. Is that?
But then irrelevant. So that's how Elneny feels, because of absolute desperation. That's how he's dealing with the situation. Then the actual goal comes in, and you've got Aubameyang, typical striker, sort of half-ass attempt. Doesn't even know where the ball is. His eyes are closed. He's looking this way, comes off his head and goes into the back of his own net. I mean, you talk about accountability. I can only imagine. You're far too calm. I think I got the calmest Arsenal fan to talk about all of this, because I can't understand it. I mean, I'm losing my shit about Liverpool drawing against Fulham. If I had seen that shit on the field at home, and the other thing, we're talking about how a huge difference the fans have boosted the other clubs on the weekend's games. At Arsenal, the fans seem to have made it worse somehow.
That's what, Claudio, that's what I was going to say last week. I can't remember, but I got cut off. Is that Arsenal, yes, we're having a difficult time, but to a large extent, I feel that the fans will have a big part to play in what's going to happen. But in helping them win. No, helping them go up, helping them go up or go down. So if you're watching everything, I mean, right now, you saw that guy is closing his eyes. Do you blame the guy for putting his mask over his eyes?
I thought talking about Aubameyang. I was like, blame him for doing this, bro. Honestly.
But you're watching. I mean, Arsenal, there was a point in time where, which was the second half, before Shaq got sent off, we were going to score, Claudio. It was watching West Ham. West Ham, they were getting set pieces. You knew in your head, watching that game, one of them is going to go in. And Arsenal, there was that point in time, yes, Burnley started off, they got an opportunity in the beginning where, I don't know what Gabriel was doing, but that didn't go in. But there was that period in the game where Arsenal putting pressure, and you're like, a goal is coming. Then what does Shaka do? The guy is far away from him, you reach for his throat and you push him down. Then I was like, oh my goodness. We just had the same situation with Pepe, a madness. And then you go and you do the same thing. And I think I've said enough about how much I love Shaka, Shaka playing for Arsenal. I don't think he's even capable of, he should be even in this team. And then he goes and does things like this.
Question is though, Rich, if he was available on a free right now, would you take him at West Ham?
No chance. We have Suchek and Rice who are better individually.
Exactly.
Takes him.
And how the hell is this like? You're finding it difficult, very difficult, because a guy like Arteta, it seems like he's dealing with children. That's what he's wanting. He's dealing with children. But then the other thing is, the worse the results are for an Arsenal, the harder it is for Arteta to make the team better, because when it is time to go get players, which players are going to want to go play for Arsenal? Don't tell me there's heritage and all this other shit. What player in their right mind would want to come sign for Arsenal right now?
Yeah, good point.
I mean, I think Wenger even struggled that time. We didn't make the Champions League. You struggled to sign players because they went to the Champions League. Now, but I think, no, honestly, Claudio, the only thing Arteta needs to do is just make people accountable. If he loses, then that's what it is. I mean, maybe your player's not good enough, but players are not. Then, like, you're not getting goals, and then you go play the same guy the next week. There's pressure on you as a manager.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I would rather him lose 4 games and say, okay, cool, Lacazette, you had your chance. If you take that chance, we go 1-0 up. Things are different in this game. You don't take your chance. Pissed off. Let me pay Nketiah or whatever his name is. Let me get him on the field. If I'm going to lose 3 games in a row, it's because the youngster's developing and he's getting better. I'd rather do that than stick with these guys that are meant to be giving you results, and all it's giving you, because what's happening is now the spotlight is on Arteta. When you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Old Trafford, how many times in the beginning when he was struggling and the form was up and down like a yo-yo, were people blaming fingers or pointing fingers at him? No, they were saying, oh no, it was the players. When Mourinho was there and things weren't happening, they're like, it's the manager. It's the manager. Yeah. It's the manager. And he tried to change the narrative. He tried to change it to say, no, these players aren't serious. I'm dealing with kids. Yeah. And they're like, no. And then he was quiet about other things. But now, right now, Arteta's biggest issue is exactly what you're saying. He's taking the brunt for the shit that the players are putting out. And he needs to get onto that quickly and rather play the youngsters.
Yes, because now the thing is, now he's protecting, and that's the thing. Like you said, they treat them like children. I mean, even I think you shouldn't even be treating children like that. Goodness me! I mean, anything they do wrong, it's no. We've got the crosses are coming in. It's gonna get there. We in the air. We're December now. It's December, bro. Next year, it's end of this December. It's gonna be half year and really halfway through and we're gonna be halfway through the year, and we're gonna be bottom half of the log. It's you have to start making people accountable. He can't be responsible for everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And to make the comparison, you've got West Ham that are 5 points from first place, and then Arsenal are 5 points above relegation. 5 points. And like I said, these games are coming in thick. They're coming in fast. They're playing tomorrow. If they lose to Southampton, because Southampton they're also top of the log. Southampton are currently sitting 4th. So if they lose that game, and then they lose another one on the weekend, who's to say that they're not going to be in the bottom 3? And that's the worrying thing for an Arsenal. And then what do? Because the thing is, Arsenal don't have a backup plan. They've signed Arteta to see out the season regardless. They haven't come with a contingency plan going, if it doesn't work out with Arteta, we're going to bring in this guy. We're going to bring in this guy. Because actually, who the hell are they going to bring in?
And also, Claudio, I was thinking about it as well. It just sort of somehow proves what you were saying about Mesut Ozil was just hogwash. I mean, he says that no, he gave Mesut Ozil every opportunity to prove himself, but he didn't prove himself for the team. Okay, now you've got players that have played the league matches, especially your strikers, week in, week out, and we're sitting 6th of the log. And I mean, I don't think we have more than 9 goals. I think maybe we got 10. Maybe we hit double digit. I don't know. But he's making Ozil. He makes Ozil accountable in training sessions. But these guys who come to matches and not scoring goals, they're not accountable. Xhaka, goodness me, Xhaka. I've said this. It's been. I mean, he's been the same for years. He's been the same since he got to Arsenal. He's been the same. He kicks people when he doesn't need to. He can't run back, so he decides, okay, I'm going to kick the guy. Everyone says, oh no, it's a smart tackle. I'm like, that's nothing smart and clever about this idiot. It's flipping lazy. I could do what he does. I could do exactly what he does.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
But he doesn't get. The thing is, he just doesn't face any consequences, so he'll carry on doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah. And talking about the consequences and moving on and doing what's going to happen with the consequences if there's another loss. We're going to move over to the betting corner. Normally we save this for pre-match Muti, but because the games are happening tonight and tomorrow, we might as well talk a little bit about our predictions and what we think is going to happen. But we're only going to focus on the Arsenal game, Liverpool game, and West Ham game because we've got the 3 of us here today. So Arsenal, Southampton, accountability, Wonga. If the results do not come in, What happens? What's your prediction? Yeah, what's your prediction first of all?
Arsenal fans are not going there to support the team. They're going to go there and expect to win. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Expect to win. Also,
Yes,
Arsenal
no,
fans
I mean
are
the fans.
they're
I'm talking about the fans. Yeah, in the fans in the stadium. No, they want to win. You know, they've put it out there. I mean, if I wouldn't say Arsenal fan TV shows all the Arsenal fans, but it's the same sort of thing they went on with the previous match they just played now. Is that I sort of sense that they're going to come in there and expect the team to win. Now you're watching and you're saying, "Hey, you guys better win." And when they went down, Shaka went off. I think everyone lost, and I think the same mentality is going to come into here. Arsenal just has to prove the players are going to get out there and probably be almost close to being alone. I think they're going to get a few people really trying to push them and help them to win the game. Guys are frustrated now. And I think if Arsenal, especially if they play the same starting lineup, they're going to have to work themselves off. Because I see Southampton coming here.
So prediction there, Wongo. What do you think? Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's hear it.
I think
no problem.
I think I'm going to see it. Yes, I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1.
I still don't see them scoring enough goals to win a match. Defense, but just let me just say it out there. I think the defense has been better this season, for sure. But up front, yes, we're struggling in the league.
Rich, what do you think is going to happen?
It's difficult to see the Arsenal slide coming to a stop, especially due to the fact that Southampton have been so good on the road this season. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Southampton win, a sneaky smash and grab. Going to continue. Unfortunately, Wonga.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a bad one, and I don't even think it's going to be 1-0. I think they're going to suffer one. They're going to concede from a set piece because they can't defend anything. And once they concede their first one, the fans are going to turn on them. And I don't know, but they're not going to know where to look. And then my biggest issue through all of this is there's a huge possibility that Arteta will get sacked. They won't have anyone else to replace him with. And the poor man, who's a decent manager, I think, he's not going to have a chance to have a career. So I think that's kind of how this is going to unfold. Next game, Rich, West Ham, Crystal Palace.
I'm obviously extremely confident, and I feel as though we have more than enough to get the results. At the same time, Palace have got a lot of flashy players, and they did the double over us last season, so it's going to be tough, but I have to be confident. I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham win. Keep the good times rolling.
Wonga?
Yeah, I think, I mean, given that as well, that they did a double over on them last season, I think West Ham is definitely going to, I mean, they've on good form. They're going to remember the result from last year. I mean, the way they're playing tells you that look, everything it sort of does matter to them where they are now, and I think I do see West Ham pulling it off, and I think they could win 2-0.
Yes, Wonga, I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a West Ham one. I'm going to make it 2-1. Yes, keep the title challenge going there, Rich. Keep it going. Okay. For the big one, in terms of the two teams that are leading the league, Liverpool Spurs. Wonga.
If Liverpool are going to hold that same high line, they will definitely have to change the way they're doing that defense. That's why I was wondering, why would they play that high line knowing that they're going to play a game like they're going to play a team like Spurs the following week. If they do that, they're going to get pumped. They're going to get pumped by Spurs. That's if they do that. But Liverpool, again, they've always surprised me this season. So I think, to be fair, I think both teams at the end of the day will most probably cancel themselves out, just like Liverpool's been seeing. And I think we might just see a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Rich, what do you think is going to happen?
I really fancy Liverpool on this one. Honestly, Mourinho is going to park the bus massively. He's going to be super negative. He's going there for a 0-0 draw. He'll take that right now, bite your hand off, say thank you very much, and go back to Spurs. So I really think Liverpool,
I agree.
It's going to be cagey, but Liverpool will have enough. Spurs won't offer enough. They're going to go park the bus. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I back the Reds.
Yeah, man. Mourinho loves spoiling a party, doesn't he? And he loves coming to Anfield and spoiling the party out of all places. And he feels like throughout the years he's been hard done by with the whole ghost goal and amongst other things. So he's going to do what he does. And like you said, park a double-decker, maybe triple decker if you can find one, and wait for that counter-attack. And like Wonga, you've highlighted the fact already, we're playing a high line. Whether or not we have our centre-halves available, in Fabinho and Matip, if they're both fit, they're very slow. So we're going to have to sit a bit deeper. So it's going to restrict us. But, it could work in our favor where we sit a bit deeper and let them come to us. And hopefully we get them on the counter. But I don't think that's going to happen. So it is going to be a tricky one. Rich saying 2-1. You saying 1-1. Also, like you said, Mourinho will take the draw. And he knows how to slow the game down from throw-ins to everything else. Dude, I know I'm just rambling because I can't make my mind up, really. I'm gonna say Liverpool are playing at home and we've got an incredible record, and we have the record right now, consecutive wins, and I think Mourinho will try to destroy that.
Do they have the fans?
Yeah, we got the fans, so I think that's gonna be the difference for us. So 2-1 win, like Rich said. Yep.
Could be.
Perfect.
Lads, before we go, any final words?
May the good times roll. Come on, lads.
Tough times last, guys. I'm telling you, they last. Tough
and
times
on that note, if you guys don't know what to be cool. Thanks for joining us. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.